So we're gonna get this. I'm gonna start it now. I'm gonna be real with you though. Be real. If this motherfucker says Sasuke beats Kimura, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm hoping he's gonna go with Kimura, but I just don't. I don't know, bro.
Wait, have you not seen this video yet?
No, I haven't seen this video. Have you?
Oh, nope.
Oh, okay.
I've never heard this guy.
Okay.
Wait, let's get this started then.
All right, bet. He's affiliated with Six. He's on Six's Discord on Error. So he's kind of like with all of them and everything. He's a Six goon, basically.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't care who they're affiliated with.
Yeah, got you. But that's all it is. But all right, we're gonna start the video. 1, 2, and 3. What's good, everybody? It's Batman. So we're gonna be doing a reaction video today. I have a special guest with me as well. It's gonna be Ken. I'll be putting his YouTube down in the description down below as well, so you guys can check him out and everything. Wanted to kind of switch it up and do a collab vid with him. We'll maybe eventually get like Low-K or somebody else that I know as well along here eventually. But as for now, we have Ken. If you want to introduce yourself, Ken, by all means.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kenneth J. Rock. I run my own YouTube channel, as he said. Please go check it out. I'm desperate for subscribers.
All right. What's it called? But yeah, no. But like I said, guys, make sure to give him all the love. Check out his stuff and whatnot. You know, everything helps. It goes a long way. Just sub, you know. But we're going to start this video. We're going to be checking out Outlaw Truth. I have reacted to one of his videos. He was very, very upset with me on that reaction. It was about the strongest training exam participant, which is a very contentious topic, you name it. And like I said, we all do this for fun and shits and giggles and, you know, for the passion and love of Naruto. So it's nothing that super serious. But either way, I had my differences debunked, you name it. And he wasn't happy. He was definitely not really happy at all. Got really, really toxic in the comments and kind of said his stuff, and that was it. And then apparently he said I even debated him, which I know damn well is not the case because whenever I debate people, I record all my debates. So he's confusing me with somebody, I don't know. But either way, he said we apparently even debated and I lost whatever, which that's not true, but that's kind of what you have. So
Ask him to show evidence of that.
I did, and he didn't answer. He just said stop lying or whatever. But it's on my YouTube. It's on that reaction video. I'll pull it up after this too, just to make this video kind of funny. But anyways, either way, I have no hate or resentment towards him. Like I said, this is simply a reaction video. I do this to all kinds of YouTube channels, you name it, whether they're good, bad, whatever. So that's it. And at the end of the day, once again, this is fiction. It's anime. It's not that serious. It is what it is. So we're going to get into it, and it's about 12 minutes long, so it's nothing too crazy. If Ken wants to, you know, request to pause the video, we're going to do pauses, and we'll let him discuss. I'll add on to it if needed. Same for me. If I want to pause or find something interesting, we'll go from there as well. So, but let's get it and let's do it.
The highest praised vessels of Orochimaru besides Itachi, who he learned soon after pursuing, was out of his league completely. Both these characters are very strong, but there's kind of a misconception that Sasuke vs Kimura would actually be a close or contentious fight if it would have happened, and I'm here to evaluate both sides and hopefully convince you, if you don't agree with me, that it's not as close as you think, at least for part 1 Sasuke. If you enjoyed the video or think I'd bring some interesting information to the table, make sure you like and subscribe, since I do have more Naruto related videos you can check out. Beginning the scaling portion of the video, I wanted to go over the kind of narrative portrayal Kimimaro has. Kimimaro, when introduced, has a kind of aura to him, you could say, that not many people can claim to have. This aura is shown when he appears in front of Tayuya, Naruto, and Shikamaru. In this sequence, he completely petrifies everyone here and turns the tide of the battle completely. In the weekly releases of the manga, they also call him a fearsome foe, and this is even more emphasized in his fights to come. Before covering these fights, we do have to...
this is a little off topic, but he has the Naruto Storm game music, right? That's the game music, right?
Let me hear it one more time.
Okay.
Mention that throughout all of them, Kimimaro is getting progressively weaker due to sickness.
Yeah.
And this is even more in Naruto and Shikamaru. In this sequence, he completely petrifies everyone here and turns the tide of the battle completely. In the weekly releases of the manga, they also call him a fearsome foe, and this is even more emphasized in his fights to come. Before covering these fights, we do have to mention that throughout all of them, Kimimaro is getting progressively weaker due to his sickness. We see in the
Ken, remember in the remember in Shippuden, this motherfucker goes he goes from the hideout from Orochimaru, travels all the way to Jugo, okay, has a conversation, and then travels all the way from there all the way to here, and that motherfucker was ridiculous. He was just traveling around the whole world.
Time out, because I don't remember there ever being a statement or anything said that he's getting weaker. I know he's dying, but
Yeah,
that dying doesn't say he's getting weaker.
true. So basically, what Ken's saying, guys, which it's a fair argument. So he made a claim that with the more time that progresses, Kimmaru's getting weaker or whatever. Now, what I will say on that is all because with his life shortening and oh man, my body's not cooperating with me. With his life shortening and all that good stuff, one doesn't necessarily mean his stats are like drastically going down or he's getting weaker or whatever, blah blah. That can just just be the fact that he's just his body's further crumbling further, and eventually he will just die. It doesn't necessarily mean all his stats are drastically getting weaker or whatever, blah blah. But there's like ways you can kind of, I guess, talk about it where like maybe if you think about, well, if it's sick Kimamaru and he's over here scaling to like these level of characters during OG Naruto Part 1, Part 2, and then you look at like Prime Kimamaru to where he's shows up in the war arc and he's over here keeping up with Lady Chio and even fighting against a KCM1 clone, you name it, and panels going, they're still both standing and not sealed. So like, I don't know, like if you want to kind of go around all that route and direction, maybe then you can further solidify the fact that he is maybe getting weaker, but I get both stances though. So
well, another way of looking at it is you take Rock Lee, right?
Yeah.
During the tuning exams, while he's using the gate, we know his bones and all that, correct?
Say that one more time. Wait, Ken, you cut out a bit. Say that one more time.
Okay. Let's say you take like Rock Lee, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know that in Part 1, when he's using the gates, his body and all that is constantly breaking down and all that, correct?
Yeah.
Under this argument, you would have to say, like Rock Lee, throughout the entire Gaara fight, he was massively getting weaker every second he was using the gates, but we know that's not true. And his body was actually just breaking down, as applied to like Kimamaru, who was just massively sick.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. I feel what you're saying, because I would with the correlation with the gates and everything, where like he's using whatnot, like he's like drastically getting weaker throughout, every time, blah blah. And if that really was the case, then that kind of be redundant, So, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, definitely do feel you. So, but that'll basically do that. But that'll be the first point to address. And also, I just want to kind of throw a little funny jab, because let's be real, this motherfucker Kimamaru like was traveling everywhere, and and immediately gets to the forest like right away, while all the Genin and even the Sound 4 are taking forever just to get out of Konoha. Like, I just find that shit kind of funny.
Right up before he leaves that he isn't even supposed to be able to move right now, and he's hooked up to numerous medical contraptions just to keep him alive. On to his fights, we start off with this fight against Naruto, wherein he's forced to combat Naruto and his numerous shadow clones, but even with the number advantage, Naruto doesn't even manage to scratch his opponent, with Kimamaru all the while being in base and not even using his curse mark to any degree. Mind you, all these Naruto clones are QBM'd. After completely tearing through these Naruto clones, Kimamaru begins explaining his Kage Genkai to Naruto. Basically, his ability boils down to complete control of bones and being able to make excess bones to use in combat, but these bones are touted as being hard as steel. After this explanation, he bisects the rest of the Naruto clones and goes for the kill on Naruto while he's distracted by Sasuke's sudden entrance, but is stopped by an attack from Rock Lee. Just off of this one interaction, Kimamaru notes that Lee isn't as easy as Naruto and soon begins a battle with Lee. During this battle, much like Naruto, Lee's not able to even land a hit on Kimamaru, with Kimamaru evading all of his attacks with minimal difficulty. After this, Lee remembers that he has to drink his medicine, which
that's not true. He's showing the anime too, and that's blatantly not true. Hold up. Fucking, I'm gonna immediately debunk that right now. Now, in the manga, I could pull it up too, just for shits and giggles. But in the manga, what's it called? He doesn't land technically any hits while he's just in base, and until he goes drunken, then he lands hits. But in the anime, he does land 2 hits while just with weightless. And I'll pull it up real quick right the fuck now. But you guys won't be able to see it on my YouTube because unfortunately it's gonna block. This is just for me and Ken, just to kind of get a laugh real quick. But that's blatantly not, like, if basically what I'm getting at, guys, if you're gonna show the fucking anime and then show Rock Lee missing hits and then say he doesn't get a hit yet he lands 2 hits, I'm sorry, but I gotta I gotta fucking debunk that. Like, what the fuck? Like, no. So
I have to correct you. Apparently, when you had asked earlier,
Yeah.
I could see your screen, but apparently the video wasn't actually playing for me.
Oh, it was black. Get back to the main point. So this is addressing the one claim where he said Lee didn't get any fucking hits, which it's not true. Like, if you're gonna use the anime and show literally in the anime of him not getting any hits and make that claim, then all right, like you either just didn't watch the anime yet you're showing the anime, or I don't fucking know. Like I don't know what his thought process was. But either way, I'm gonna show. So the first hit is what he does show on the video, but then again, you could just probably say maybe Kimar is off guard, whatever. Now, all I'm gonna say when we talk about the whole that type of bullshit, there are many Naruto characters with their sensory capabilities, you name it, or even when someone's behind them, they're still able to react and dodge whatever. So if you kind of want to argue and go that route, then you can technically count that as a hit. But let's say we give Kimar the benefit of the doubt and he was really off guard, didn't know Lee came or whatever, or because maybe Lee's just equal to this base Kiyomaru, or relative at least, whatever. That like since he was focused on Naruto and he's already attacking in motion, there was no way for him to have enough time to react to Lee while he's going full on for the attack. So regardless of that, whatever, you can get that. But I'm going to show that first, and then I'm going to show the other 2 hits. But he gets 3 hits on Kiyomaru. So he does that. Bam, that's the first hit. And he basically sends him flying like that. What's it called? And then Kiyomaru goes at full speed right here. He's about to hit Naruto from behind. Naruto's like, oh shit, he can't even do anything to defend himself. And Lee just catches the bone and just like, bam. You know what I mean? Like, so Lee's about it. It reminds you what Ken said. This Lee is weaker. This is not full power Lee. like I can't stress that enough. This is not full power Lee. Like he just got out of surgery. There's multiple statements to where it's even stated by Sanada that like, once he gets out of surgery, he has no business moving or whatever. Should keep to light stuff. The first time she even gives a statement, she just straight up says like, oh, even after the surgery, you still just won't be able to be a ninja, whatever, blah, blah. But that was more of, ignorance because obviously that's proven obviously wrong. But the second main statement is, like, she tells him, like, you just got to surgery, blah, whatever. Like, you cannot be doing shit. Like, you need to relax. And if you were to do something, it needs to be very, very light. And then Gaara further solidifies the fact that he's less faster and less sharper when they fought. So there's no way you can argue otherwise. Like, you're just being completely disingenuous if you're saying that. So this is not full power Lee. This is, I don't know how you want to say it, Ken, but maybe half-ass Lee, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. But he catches the bone. So that's what happens there.
He actually gets 4 hits on Kiyomaru.
What's that?
He actually gets 4 hits.
4 hits?
Yeah, so what happens is he gets that one that's off surprise.
Yeah.
The one that he shows where he catches it. Later, he goes to kick him. He steps back. He goes to kick him again, and Kiyomaru is forced to block it with his hand.
Okay. So
once that exchange is over, he gets Lee on the ground, and then Lee uppercuts him. He gets 4 full hits.
Yeah, so just blatantly wrong. So we're come on, it's going. So but he pulls him aside, and then bam, lands the kick on the shoulder. Now, remind you, these taijutsu blows aren't doing anything, obviously, but I'm just saying he is getting hits. So Lee's moving at full speed. He does a kick. Kiyomaru blocks it. He lands a kick there. So that's a third hit. Misses that one. And bam, 4. So yeah, Ken was right. He got 4 hits. And then he fucking just uppercutted him. So yeah, like there's just no, like, come on, like you're not gonna sit here and say Rock Lee doesn't fucking get no hits on him in base. Like, get the fuck out of here, or he doesn't get anything until he's drunken. That's just blatantly not shown. So I don't know why he said that or whatever. Maybe that makes his precious Sasuke look even worse. I don't know. But either way, there you go. And not only that, I'm gonna put this out there. This also relates to the whole shooting exam shit as well. If this Lee is weaker and he's doing this shit to Kiyomaru, bro, you really gonna sit here and tell me, like, Sasuke's, like, just straight up speed blitzing this Lee? Like, are you kidding me? like, this guy, like, what he's doing right now to Kiyomaru, like, there's no way. Like, what do you think on that, Ken? You don't believe that, right? From this alone?
I don't. No, because we did talk about this a little bit before we actually started this part of the recording.
Yeah.
But I don't think Sasuke is faster than him.
Yeah.
But I do think it is to keep in mind that once again, this is a weaker, slower Lee.
Yeah.
So if this Lee can tag Kimimaro the base, Sasuke should definitely also be able to tag him.
Yeah.
Would he be able to hurt him? That's the question.
Gotcha. Now, if this Lee, like, full power Lee and this Lee as well, if he was throwing taijutsu exchanges with Sasuke, do you think Lee is also getting hits as well, or do you think he's just getting bullied?
I think Sasuke is getting Lee. I think Sasuke beats Lee as far as taijutsu capabilities go.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the tuning exams, and I did say that Sasuke would have been getting stronger.
Yeah.
But Sasuke doesn't really focus on taijutsu as much.
Yeah.
Like when you look at his training with Orochimaru, it's like ninjutsu based.
Mm.
Lee's all about that taijutsu, so I think if it were hand to hand, Rock Lee just mops with them.
Yeah.
Like Sasuke has to like mimic like Rock Lee's fighting style just to have a chance against Gaara.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like if this same Lee and even Prime Lee as well is fighting base Sasuke with 2 Tomo. I'm not saying 3 Tomo, but with 2 Tomo, I think he's getting still like kind of washed up in the hand. Like Sasuke could probably get maybe some hits here and there too. I won't say that. That's being completely disingenuous, but I do believe Lee's gonna have still the advantage. And then you just kind of have that what you're working with. Like for instance, guy, like just to further solidify, like if Sasuke is having a hard time of base Naruto, okay, and you see this Lee kind of giving the hands to Kimimaro, come on, man. And that's 2 Tomo Sasuke, you know what I mean? And Final Valley Sasuke with Naruto. And Naruto basically had to go immediately QB just to even stand a chance against base Kimimaro. And then while he's in base, like he's over here about to get speed blitz from Kimimaro again. You know, so it's like, you know, I don't know. That's just me with that whole fucking line of scaling and thought process. But, you know, now if Sasuke gets 3 Tomo, I think that's a whole different story. I mean, I think Sasuke's going to be seeing everything Lee throws at him, and he'll just be able to dominate. You know what I mean? And then obviously Lee would be forced to do the gates, and then it would go from there. So I don't know how you feel with that, Ken, with 3 Tomo, but
yeah, 3 Tomo is kind of harder to figure out, just because we don't see a whole lot of it. And realistically, if we wanted to be 100% fair with it,
yeah,
like Drunk Lee and 3 Tomo should be relative to each other.
Yeah,
since Kimimaro once again, like he showed, was able to fight off like Kyuubi and Chance Naruto's, and that's something like 3 Tomo was needed to do.
Exactly. So,
the way I see the scaling here is like 2 Tomo would be like relative to base Lee, which would be like weaker than Kimimaro.
Yeah.
But at least as far as Jutsu is concerned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But all right, let's continue and let's keep it going. But yeah, either way, I just want to show you guys all this. We're gonna get back to the video now. But I'm sorry, like I know I think this me being a little petty, but this is a reaction video. You know, we're gonna debunk whatever needs to be debunked. It is what it is. Don't take it to heart, and we'll continue on. So
that even scared Might Guy, Drunken Lee. According to Guy, Lee has an innate mastery of the Potion Punch, also known as the Drunken Fist technique. This technique amplifies the user's taijutsu, as well as makes it more sporadic and unpredictable to the enemy, making them a harder target. After taking the alcohol, Lee begins fighting Kimimaro and manages to get over on him with his unorthodox taijutsu, and he's even able to dodge a flurry of Kimimaro's attacks. After that, Kimimaro gets hit by a strike from this Lee, and he kind of praises Lee's hit by saying it was something else. And he also says he has no choice but to use the curse mark, in a form I like to call the 0.5 state. In this state, Kimimaro quickly rushes
a quick thing, Ken, I could be tripping on this, but I'm pretty sure in the anime and manga, Kimimaro does say he's faster too. I could be tripping, but I'm pretty sure he says he gets faster as well. But I'm not going to go all the way fully back. Like, if it's a thing, I'll probably show it towards the end, but I'm pretty sure, though.
Lee actually blocks one of his hits and goes for a counter, but is quickly caught by Kimimaro's Lee tries to get the advantage on Kimimaro by taking his back.
Oh yeah, I got you.
The only statement I know that Kimimaro makes on Lee is he says that his movements are very like unorthodox, saying like they're unpredictable.
Yeah, like I remember all of that very like clearly and fucking and all that. I just like, but like that's how I'm saying. Like I could be wrong, but I could have sworn like fucking he says something about the speed or whatever. But like I said, I could be wrong, so I'm not gonna focus too much on that. But I will look at it because I am curious to see if I was right on that. But let's keep it going and let's get it.
Back, but Kimimaro easily counters it. After this, Lee's drunken state wears off and he reverts back to base, which basically forces him to go into the first gate and attempt the forward lotus, which Kimimaro also easily stops. And at this point, Lee probably would have died if not for Gar's interference. For now, we kind of have a checkpoint for Kimimaro scaling.
Okay, so that's he didn't really say anything on that, but that's actually really important what he just showed.
Lee probably would.
So right here, like he does the first gate, right? And like he's like, oh, the bones absorb the impact, and he's like impressive speed, but it stops here. So Kimimaro like complements his speed, mind you. This is with the first gate alone. Okay, and he was forced to go CM1 and do bone jutsu activation to just be able to react to it, because not even like his body like apparently just in base couldn't do it or anything. Otherwise, he would have just got kicked up like anybody else normally would from this attack. So like this is also a feat itself, and once again remind you this Lee is weaker. Like first gate is no joke, bro. Like I don't know what your thoughts on that, Ken, but like I don't think I'm over exaggerating either, but like that's a feat, you know? So it's kind of similar to like with the whole notion where Drunken was also able to force him to go CM1 and, you know, and etc. And first gate could do the same effect. And that's pretty good. So do you have anything on that,
so
Ken?
So we'll have to use like for a drunk lead to have to force like Kimimaro to use like his first mark abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a feat itself, especially when you consider the fact that the Down 4 lost to base Kimimaro with their CM2s out.
Exactly.
So
and now we know
like
bare minimum. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We know bare minimum he had CM1 activated. Like we don't like maybe he went CM2. We don't know, but what we do see on screen is like him in CM1, and then it retracts back to base. And then he just tells him like, do you bow or die or whatever or obey, something like that, you know? So
yeah. Well, let's be generous and say like he used like KCM1 in order to fight the Sound 4.
Yeah.
This means Drunken Rock Lee is such a big threat that he's like on par with all 4 of the Sound Ninja.
Yeah.
Together with their CM2 active.
Exactly, and that's ridiculous.
And we want to play Sasuke get bodies.
Literally. So like bro, like come on, man. Like that's something not to ignore, and that's why to this day, guys, like no matter what, like even if like Chunin Exam Lee was fighting Sasuke, okay, and Lee goes first gate with the first gate alone, I will say this to this day and stand by it. He'd be speed blitzing Sasuke and fucking his ass up. I don't want to hear it. Like there's just I don't know. Like that's just crazy and beyond me to think that base Sasuke with 2 Tomo Sharingan with a Chidori can deal with the first gate lead. I just don't see how that's even possible. But that's just me, though. All right.
Would have died if not for Gar's interference. For now, we kind of have a checkpoint for Kimimaro scaling since we can directly compare him to a version of Sasuke.
Temari is such a baddie, bro. It's a little off topic, but like we just saw a picture of it and like, damn.
That being the finals exam Sasuke. This Sasuke is no joke in terms of power, being able to break down Gar's ultimate defense in just a few combos. Sasuke's raw speed at this point in time.
Oh, sorry, hang on, Ken. I'm doing all right, Kryptonian Crusader. I appreciate you, man. I'm doing good. How are you doing, though? Let me know.
To be comparable to Weightless Lee, but we do know overall he should be stronger than Lee since the first data book claims
that's important right there, what you guys just saw. It said practically the same. It doesn't say it is exactly the same. It says practically. If you guys look up the definition of practically, that basically means like almost or nearly almost the speed or whatever. You know what I mean? So basically meaning, bare minimum, concretely, you can say that Sasuke is relative to that Lee. He's not as fast or equal to his speed, but he's relative. So,
well,
and that's
if you don't real fast.
What's that?
If you don't mind real fast, I will play devil's advocate for Sasuke.
Yeah.
Because that would also technically be able to work in the opposite favor, saying that Sasuke could be slightly faster than Lee.
Gotcha. Say that one more time. My bad. I didn't really hear that well.
Oh, you're fine. I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to play devil's advocate, you could say that would work. That could work in the opposite favor as well. If you say, like, Sasuke might be slightly slower than Lee, you could say the opposite and say that it means that he might be slightly faster than Lee as well, depending on how you want to look at it.
Okay. Gotcha. I see what you're saying. The only thing I'll say really on that though, like fucking like even before like the first time guy kind of acknowledges the speed, he says like, oh, he's almost as fast as Lee's average speed. Like he says almost, you know what I mean? And then when Sasuke does even more speed, which is the same as weightless, basically, he's like, oh wow, that's practically the same speed as weightless Lee. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like the context and everything kind of further supports that he's almost to that speed. You know what I mean? So meaning relative, but I get what you're saying. You can probably be able to argue otherwise, or maybe play.
Again, that's why I'm saying, like, if you wanted to like do like devil's advocate, maybe. But.
Yeah. But more leaning on like the whole possibility wise. It's definitely more like the first thing. And then like I said, guys, it's just like I said, either way, even if you give it whether if it's less or he's a little bit over or the same, like it still doesn't help Sasuke because once again, Lee just does gates and GGs. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Not even the Shidori would be a massive enough amp. So.
Strongest opponent.
Oh, okay, here we go. Ads. Fuck you, bitch. What the fuck? Normally lets me skip it.
Damage history affects the value.
There we go.
Sasuke, however, being compared to his Lee, and Kimimaro being able to completely eclipse this Lee in base and on the verge of death. Not to mention this is a Lee.
Nice, Kryptonian. Appreciate you. Yeah. Awesome.
Who the second data book says after having surgery, gained a newfound power. This should kind of give you a view as to why this is kind of a mismatch. Even with his Sharingan, which would give him an overall amp in combat with his prediction and insight, Sasuke would still probably lose in a battle to base Kimimaro, if not curse state 0.5 Kimimaro, at most. Later on, it becomes...
How do you feel about that?
Would you mind rewinding just a little bit?
Yeah, I got you.
Probably lose in a battle to base... Even with his Sharingan, which would give him an overall amp in combat with his prediction and insight, Sasuke would still probably lose in a battle to base Kimimaro, if not curse state 0.5 Kimimaro, at most. Later on, it becomes...
So he says Sasuke will lose to base Kimimaro with 2 Tomo, I'm assuming. I don't think he's talking about 3 Tomo either. But with 2 Tomo, he would lose to base Kimimaro and CM1 Kimimaro. What do you feel about that?
He's not losing the base team. Because we know that he used when he actually had all those phones across his body to block Lee's kicks, he did go into the curse mark.
Yeah.
So we could arguably say he needs to use the curse mark to get that many bones across him. And if we say like Rock Lee should even be like relative to like Exams Lee, who should be faster than this Rock Lee.
Yeah.
And Kimimaro just wouldn't have any way to actually tag him without activating all those bones. And if Sasuke were to get like a well placed like kick to like the head to distance them to activate the Shidori, then that's kind of GG as long if he doesn't activate the curse mark at all.
Okay, so you think base Kimimaro would lose if Sasuke does a Shidori?
I think if he doesn't use his curse mark at all, it leaves him open to too many well placed hits, which could leave him open to a Shidori. And if he doesn't use the curse mark to counter the Shidori, then we know he can strengthen his bones, but he can't strengthen his organs. Like my guy says, you can't train your organs.
Yeah.
And it's not like he has like a tailed beast to like regen like a lung or something. So if he gets a Shidori in there, then that's pretty much game. So he would have to use the curse mark to keep himself safe.
Okay. So W against base, but no W against CM1, though, right?
Yeah. For the basic reason of because we know that the weakened Lee could tag him and like get these like good hits on him.
Yeah.
And we know that Sasuke should be relative to a slightly faster Lee, so he should be able to get just as well hits in, and he should be able to get the distance to use the Shidori.
Okay. All right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair. What's it called? So, all right. And what I will say with base Kimimaro, if it's like no CM1, no CM2, my whole thing at the end of the day is, it's like with the direction basically Ken provides, it can just go that route, and then there you go. He could probably be able to pull off the W. Now, one thing I will say, like, I do believe it's debatable whether the Shidori could even go through. The only reason why I'm saying that is like, fucking like, it's I don't know, like Kimimaro, like it's not really a lot to specify like how much his bones can like deal with like durability wise and everything, but like what he does have, which is pretty fucking impressive though. Now, to be fair though, he is in CM1, so maybe it's only that to that level in CM1, not in base. I don't know. I'm assuming it's probably CM1, because he has to use that. He's not just in base and he tanked it, but he does tank like Gar's fucking sand burial in CM1 and everything. and has like an immense amount of pressure. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Sasuke would never be able to replicate a durability feat like that either. So like you have that. So whether or not like you think, you know, whether base like bone durability could somehow deal with, you know, I don't know, with the Shidori's AP, like maybe if he would hit him, like, and it would only like crack his bone, or, you know, or if you think it would go through, I don't know. Like either way, it's kind of similar along the whole concept of like, does it go through Neji's rotation? You know what I mean? That kind of a gig.
Well, to be fair, we do have a quantification for how strong Kimimara's bones are.
Yeah.
Because he says himself they're as strong as steel. So the question is, do you think Shidori could go through steel?
Yeah. Do you think
the answer is yes?
And yeah, I would say yes. Yeah. If it is steel, like, not if you're taking that like as like a hyper literal, like, you know what I mean, like it's the same durability as steel, then that should go through. Or if you think he's just kind of saying it in a figurative sense, like, oh, my bones are just really, really fucking strong, like steel or whatever, like, you know, and it's not necessarily equating to the durability of steel, that maybe it could be beyond whatever, I don't know, but that is a good point as well. You know what I mean? Like I said, you could try to get around or whatever, but if you take that literally and based off the statement that's made verbatim, then there you go, you have that simplification for durability itself. So yeah, absolutely. So you can kind of go that route, and then there you go. Shidori should just go right through, right? You know, the GGs. So you have that, and that's basically what you're working with. Like, the only way you can defend Kimimaro for base, like I said, is the whole fact that Boneman was fucking shitting on thousands of fucking QB Narutos, and then while one QB Naruto was able to shit on that same two-tomo Sasuke. So you have that, you know what I mean, and you have the whole lead stuff. So if you go along with that line of connection, the dots and scaling, then Kimimaro should just be able to, you know, body him or whatever. What's it called? Give me one moment, Ken. Hang on. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So if you go along that line, then therefore Kimimaro should just shit on that Sasuke, whatever, regardless of Shidori or Tutomo, you name it. And then to kind of further solidify, like if you analyze the whole, like that Sasuke fighting the Sound 4, he's getting bullied, you know, he's kind of getting beaten up by them. He does CM1, Saikun does CM1, still bullying his shit, whatever. You have all of that, you name it. So like, and then if you have, even if you grant like Sasuke CM2 thing, like now, mind you, me and Ken discussed this beforehand with the video, before we reacted and everything too, because we were just curious to give our generalized thoughts on the whole topic. But like there is a statement that Saikun does make to where he's like, you know, when you unlock CM2, your power will be either equal or less than ours. You know, now obviously you can debate like the whole integrity of that statement, whether if that would be, you know, the case hyperliterally or not. You know, but if you do take that hyperliterally and, you know, therefore to solidify that skin, because that's kind of like the only thing we really have to equate to that whole comparison with them in the curse marks and you name it, to a degree, then you can kind of go along the route where, you know, even with CM2 as well, like it still wouldn't be able to do anything for him with everything else before, and he should still lose, you know what I mean? Because then Kimimaro could just kind of, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is, you know, you have that Sasuke, even with the CM1, if he goes that, it's just not going to do anything, because he's just still way over. Like I said, like it's that you kind of, that's just what you're working with. Like there's many ways to go around it, and like I said, it can be contentious and weird, but and especially if you analyze the way Ken's thinking and his whole thought process and how he formulated his argument with the line of scaling. So like you can go in either direction. At the end of the day, it goes either way. It's totally up to you guys, but that's kind of the only way you can kind of really, I feel like, really make it simplified in Boneman's favor, at least base. You know what I mean? But if we're counting CM1 as well with Kimimaro, and especially if we give him CM2, I'm sorry. There's no way Sasuke's beating him. And I'm pretty sure even Ken would agree with that as well. So, what do you think on that, Ken? You have anything to add, or that's it?
Well, okay, because again, this is one of those things, because I don't know how much of this recording you're going to go into the actual thing.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, like I said, I think base to base, Sasuke should win if neither of them even tries to use the curse mark.
Yeah.
Curse mark one. Curse mark one for both of them. It's a bit harder to figure out just because of all factors and all that. Kimimaro gets all those bones and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaning toward Kimimaro since it would be hard for Sasuke to get that clear shot with the Chidori, which is like his only real win con here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when it comes to Curse Mark, and then when it comes to like Curse Mark 2, like you said earlier, Sasuke can only use it for like a handful of seconds.
Yeah.
While Kimimaro can hold it for like an entire fight.
Exactly.
It can even use it for like a giant grenade.
Yeah.
So like the further the fight goes, the more it favors someone like Kimimaro.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's basically what you got, guys. So we'll kind of keep it there, but we'll continue it on. But overall, like, bare minimum, we are agreeing with truth. By the way, if Kimimaro does go to like, if we're giving it all, you know, CM1 and CM2 as well on the table, there's just no way Sasuke's pulling it off. There's no way. You know what I mean? We can all at least agree with that, bare minimum. So, all right. We'll get this. Keep going.
It was more contentious with the versions of Sasuke, like 3 Tomoe and Final Valley CM2. Now to compare these, I'll be using Kakashi since he's supposed to be the strongest ninja in the village at this point in time. And he's also kind of implied to have been able to stop the battle between Naruto and Sasuke. If
What's he got to do with this?
Before.
It's a little weird. Hang on. Checking something real quick. Alright, yep. I did something on my own on accident. Alright, cool. Alright, let's get it back.
Diving directly into the Kakashi stuff, first we have to talk about how strong Final Valley Sasuke actually is. This Sasuke is said to have access to the 3 Tomoe Sharingan, which essentially gives him a small amount of precognition. Not only does it allow him to...
Small amount? I don't know about small amount. That gives the max amount. Like, this man went from couldn't see or anticipate QB Naruto at all to fucking just getting to like perfectly predicting and seeing and just shitting on this Naruto. You know what I mean? And then not only that, like that's the max Tomo you can get for a Sharingan. You know, that's what Kakashi has. It's what, you know, Itachi, Obito. So I don't know about small, but you know, that's me kind of nitpicking. But I don't feel like it's too much of a nitpick.
Read his opponents and counter them. It also amps basically all of his statistics as said in the data book, as well as some enemy guys. I'll show here.
Wait a minute. He's saying it amps his body stats. Let me see.
For Sharingan?
Yeah.
I know the MS does. I have the data book that says the MS does, but I don't know if the Sharingan does. The idea is the Sharingan itself has a certain amount of chakra within it.
Yeah.
So when it's activated, it gives the body more chakra.
So, okay, I see what the line of reasoning is going with. So, the problem with these statements, guys, is it's always the same shit. It's very vague. Like Fred, this one right here in the top. When ninjas like King awakens, his fighting power increases dramatically. It says fighting power. That can equate to so many fucking things. That can equate to him being able to strategize better. That can be able to equate to him creating an opening. Yeah, what jutsu we get. Like, for instance, like Haku. Why does she, like, alright, this is a perfect example. Haku is literally getting beaten up by Sasuke, right? With no Sharingan, just base to base. Like, she was losing a battle with speed. Stated verbatim by Zabuza, whatever you name it. And she had to go to using the ice mirrors to completely turn the tides and shit on him. AKA Kenkai Genkai. So, that's a perfect example. It's not because her fucking stats just like, you know what I mean, like now are fucking overboard, whatever. Like now, this is technically Haku is a different exception because she does get faster because she can utilize the teleportation. But once again, we're talking about like him activating Sharingan and just amplifying all your stats like some Sage Mode type shit, you know? And that's not what's being stated. So it's like, for you to make the claim that it's boosting and amplifying all your stats, I don't know about all that. All we do know, we know bare minimum concretely, is there's more visual chakra that's being generated in the eye, and that's what increases like, you know, your perception to anticipate your opponent's attacks, you name it. It can also complement with, jutsus that you can have as well, like the Shidori, you name it, or the fucking windmill shurikens, or like, those I forget what they're called, but the chia shit that they use, you know what I mean, that only they can do because of the Sharingan. So that's why it would technically increase their fighting power. Not that it's increasing their body stats, but yeah, it would increase their fighting power. You know what I mean?
Real fast, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Another good example of what you're going with is like if you take the Rinnegan. It increases your combat capability because it gives you the ability to link your vision with other people that you project your Rinnegan to.
Yeah.
But it itself doesn't necessarily make you move faster and all that. It just allows you to react to stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to, being able to see more.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know about all that. Like, unless Kishimoto is showing a statement saying verbatim that the Sharingan amplifies all stats, like speed, strength, you name it, then you can't argue that. There's no contest. You know what I mean? But that doesn't prove that notion. Like, I'm sorry. You can go all day with somebody arguing whether the semantics of it, whatever you name it, and it's just never going to get anywhere. No matter what, you're not going to be able to concretely prove that claim. And if we're boiling down to what has the higher possibility, it would be the opposite as a matter of fact. You could still argue for it. I'm not saying you can't, but it's way more stronger in belief of possibility that it does not boost all stats. And the reason why I feel like that's also further supported is literally, like, you guys are also forgetting that when Sasuke's fighting Lee in base, he's getting his ass whooped. Then he does Two-Tomo Sharingan, he's still getting his ass whooped. You know what I mean? So, like, if it was such a drastic, like, increase of power and buff, you know what I mean? Like, shouldn't Sasuke be able to at least maybe be relative or do something to that weighted Lee? And he couldn't do anything. And even Lee, like, says, like, even with your eyes, if your body's not fast enough or whatever you name it, it's irrelevant. Even if you can see me coming or whatever. So, like I said, there's just way more evidence in supporting the notion that it doesn't increase all your stats. So that's blatantly not true. You're not gonna get that. That's not happening. That's it.
Oh yeah, and another thing that kind of disproves this is, and I don't remember if this is 100% true. You can correct me if I'm not, but if I remember correctly, Datara's hands, those are also technically a form of KK Genkai.
Exactly.
And they do increase his battle ability in the case that they allow him to do his bombs and all the way he does. But it's not like his stats and all that went like 100 times greater because of it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I definitely don't agree with that at all. That's definitely I feel like we kind of address that as much as we can. It's debunked, and there's more possibility of just otherwise the other way around. And like even the other thing where it says the effects of his like own jutsu increased dramatically when used in tandem with the Sharingan. That makes sense because once again, when it correlates to jutsu, like using a combination with Shidori or with the fucking wires around, and you name it, that makes sense, but not to amplify his stats. And then everything else below, let me see. Okay, yeah, that's just all that. Everything in the bottom is just saying the benefits of the Sharingan. That doesn't have anything to do with stats either. So yeah, so the only thing that he could really use at best to really support that it does boost all stats is the top right one where it says it awakens, his fighting power increases dramatically, whatever. But once again, that's vague. That can be, you know what I mean? You can go on with other things, and what it would more than likely correlate to possibility-wise is what we already just discussed. So, but we'll move on and we'll keep going. But yeah, no, that's not. I don't know about that.
Before we move on, because it also does say KK Genkai specifically.
Yeah.
So any fighting power that would increase with Sasuke, you could argue the same with Minoru when he activates his, which would be his bones.
And so exactly, that doesn't really work either. Because even if we steelman that, yeah, like you said, and grant that that claim, then that works for Kimaru as well. That's not good, So, but yeah, no, that's stupid. But let's move on. It's understandable, but no, that's not the case. Like, I'm sorry if you're a good debater or you have pretty good knowledge, you can easily debunk that and win that point.
Here. He also has the ability to copy ninjutsu and taijutsu just by seeing it, but since most of Kimaru's taijutsu relies on his unique and powerful Kekkei Genkai, which we know the Sharingan cannot copy, this probably won't matter much in this matchup.
Facts. That is very true. That's nothing really to discuss on that, but Kakashi says it with Haku, you name it. It's stated verbatim multiple times. Simple as that. So
he was able to completely dominate Naruto even in his QBM form. When just before awakening the three Tomoe, he was barely able to react to the same Naruto he continues to destroy.
Now, to be fair, he does beat that Naruto, but when you say dominate, that's kind of like Naruto couldn't do anything, and that was not the case. You know what I mean? Like I guess the manga kind of further supports that, like, yeah, he was dominant. So if he's going along the manga, then sure, whatever. But, you know, like, I'm gonna be real with you. Even in the manga, Naruto is, like, still, like, on the same level, basically, as him. Like, Sasuke's just basically dodging, you know, and then just timing his attacks. It's not like Sasuke's just massively scaling over him and all this, blah, blah, and you name it. Like, they're still on the same level. It's just Sasuke has the edge because of, you know, his precognition, etc. So, I don't know about the whole word dominating. And if you also watch the anime, Naruto is able to eventually... excuse me. God, my body's being an asshole. Naruto is eventually able to pressure that Sasuke as well. So where he does like a shit ton of clones, and Naruto's even able to grab him as well, you name it. And Sasuke's still fighting and he's doing good, but he does get pressured to where there is a form of, you know, back and forth. Then Naruto lands another hit on him, grabs him, slams him into the rocks, and then he does like his fire style, and then it goes from there. So like, if you look at all that anime-wise as well, then that kind of, you know, supports for that Naruto wasn't necessarily dominated. He did lose, but he wasn't dominated. So that's just me. But I don't know how you feel with that either, Ken. But that, you know, I don't
know. As far as Sasuke's fight with Naruto in the Valley, it was definitely somewhat one-sided, but I wouldn't say it wasn't something like Naruto. If he hadn't gotten lucky at some point in time, he could have turned around.
Exactly, you know. So like,
also, Naruto wasn't being smart throughout that fight. At any point, he could have summoned Yamabote, and that would have been game.
Yeah.
Realistically, that would have been.
If Naruto wasn't holding back, you know, he probably definitely could have still got him. If Naruto summoned down Bunta, GG's, like, yeah. So, like, you have all those variables, you name it. So, like, you know, you can take that at a grain of salt, whatever. But like I said, if you're going to use the word dominated, like, that's a very strong word. And normally when someone's dominated, that means, like, it was no diff, like, no problem at all. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but I think that's being really disingenuous to Naruto. So, but let's continue.
Some people like to deny the fact that Naruto was trying his hardest during this battle. It's pretty clear that he was with the evidence we're given. First, Naruto goes at Sasuke with the Rasengan to test if Sasuke actually has intent to kill him, which Naruto concludes after the clash that he does have the intent. After this, Naruto gets completely dominated by Sasuke in his Curse 1 state, and is eventually forced to use his Kyuubi chakra, and literally says word for word, "I'm gonna bring you home."
So, to correct that as well, I wouldn't say he got dominated either by CM1. Like, literally what's happening the whole time is Naruto is having a mental breakdown. Like, he's getting mentally nerfed. We all know mental amps and mental nerfs are a thing in Naruto. So he's having a mental breakdown and getting nerfed because he establishes the notion that, like, Sasuke's trying to kill him. Okay, so that like, basically tore him apart. You know what I mean? Like, that ripped him a new one. Like, he's like, imagine if you're fighting your best friend and out of nowhere, like, you know he's trying to kill you. Like, he doesn't care about you anymore, you know? That's fucked up. You know, so he's being mentally nerfed, you know, he's all out of it, whatever. And even with that mental nerf, Sasuke states verbatim that, like that Rasengan's just so fucking strong. Like, oh, fuck you, Naruto. Like, even my full power Chidori couldn't do anything. And mind you, Naruto is holding back. That's also not true what he said, because I think he said Naruto's going fully all out. And if you're going to talk about the whole Rasengan and Chidori thing, it's literally shown and stated that Rasengan is stronger than Chidori. Like, it was shown before. Like, he would have killed Sasuke if they landed his blow. He didn't mean to do that on purpose. He was just trying to beat him in a fight, you know, the whole rivalry thing. But, like, literally it's stated that he would have killed. It's shown. Like, even Sasuke gets pissed. You know what I mean? Because he would have lost that fight if they landed their exchange. So that's not true at all. He wasn't even using his full power Rasengan. Okay, Sasuke was going full power because, like he said, Sasuke's trying to kill him this whole time. Couldn't do anything. Then he goes to CM1, and then he says verbatim he's going to have to do multiple attacks to create an opening. If you state that you need to do multiple attacks to create an opening, there's no way you can be significantly more powerful than that person then, or dominate them. That doesn't make any sense. Because if you were that much more powerful, you should just be able to just straight up speed blitz, right? Or do a Chidori, CM1, and bam, GG's, right? that's not the case, you know? So he had to do multiple jutsus to create that opening. He creates the opening and then starts landing hits on Naruto. And mind you, Naruto is literally watching him the whole time while he does it. Like, when you watch the anime and the manga, like, Naruto's literally looking at him before he hits him, kind of like indicating that he probably could have been able to still react, but he's just taking the beat down because he's so mentally distraught, you know, and he's just kind of letting Sasuke rough him up, whatever, and then Sasuke's holding him up, and then he goes to do the Chidori, Naruto does the Kyuubi thing, and he's still able to react to Sasuke, you know what I mean, like, which although further proves what I'm saying overall, you know, like, and that's why he didn't get killed, because it hit his lungs instead, you know, so I don't know what you're going to say on that, Ken. I'll let you kind of respond as well, but I don't know about all that. That's a little weird, how he's approaching it.
Because it does sound like, if you were to continue playing it sounds like he was going to bring up the fact that Naruto said he was going to break the bones in his body.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good way of saying that Naruto was going all out, because later on, he gets Sasuke pinned. He's like, hey, look, dude, I wasn't joking. Like, if this continues on, I really am just going to break every bone.
Literally, like, it's further contradicted. So basically what Ken's saying, guys, like, just which further proves everything I'm saying as well, he says this, right? But he doesn't even break Sasuke's bones. Like, he could have, but he doesn't. Like, he beats his ass, then slams him on the wall, and then literally what Ken just said, like, listen, bro, like, come on, just come back home. We don't need to be doing this. Like, if you keep going, I will have to break every bone in your body. He gives him a chance to even come back and not even fight. Like, he could have knocked him out right there and then, or broke all his bones, and then GG, and brought him back. But Naruto's being an idiot.
And we also do know that Sasuke isn't all out either. Because at this point in time, the whole point of taking those pills was the ability to freely use, at least case the CM1.
Yes.
Which he knows he'd be able to use freely.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even break that out till like later on, which it would further prove that Sasuke isn't going out either. He's probably more like testing like what his new base is and all that.
Yeah.
Which realistically, he knows how powerful Naruto is, so it's not even like the worst measuring stick either.
Exactly. And then not only that, like, you know, obviously we're not saying he can't go CM2 with Tutoma. That's retarded. We literally see him do it when he gets out of the barrel. What we're saying, okay, is, you know, he should be aware of Naruto's abilities in base, you name it, or whatever, right? And he kind of has that whole thing. He goes to CM1 to be able to get to land the blow for Chidori, okay, and still, like, technically struggled to a degree to do that, all right? Finally gets it. Naruto gets his Kyuubi thing, shits on Sasuke, and so meaning, like even though Sasuke has CM2, he wouldn't have even still had the chance to go to CM2 because it was too late. You know, Naruto's already just giving him the beatdown. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, so, and what Ken is saying, like, yeah, he's not going full power, which is true, because he didn't immediately go to CM2, but the reason why is because he didn't feel him enough as a threat to go to that point right away. He didn't feel threatened until Naruto was in One Tail. So...
Oh yeah, well, not even, like, CM2. Like, he doesn't even use, like, the half, like, CM1.
Yeah.
Which is something that Sasuke 100% knows at this point he should be able to use, like, more freely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Again, like, Sasuke wants to test his powers out against Naruto. Like, when they were in the exams, like, he saw, like, Naruto as, like, this rival.
Yeah.
So it would make sense for him to be like, okay, you're pretty powerful. Let me see what this new power can do against you. And then just slowly work.
Yeah, exactly.
And then further backed out by the fact that when Sasuke wants to finish it, he just finishes it.
Yeah. So, and that's basically what you have. So, you know, you guys all take that information, but we'll continue it on and go from there.
Home safe if I have to break every bone in your body. This falls in line with other things we have in the story, such as when Teen Taka engages Killer B and are forced to retreat for the first time. Sumigetsu says that they should go at B as if they were trying to destroy him instead of not going at him like that, which would allow them to subdue him without exactly killing him, which is the principle I believe that Naruto's functioning under in this fight. After beating up on...
Wait, so he's saying Naruto's trying to kill him?
He's trying to say that Naruto is so much weaker than Sasuke that the only way that Naruto would be able to beat him is if he went out them at the idea of, like, trying to destroy his body. Which, again, we've already proven that's not true. Because he later says, like, hey, if you keep fighting me, I will just have to break your bones. Implying that he wasn't trying to in that moment.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. Come on.
Yeah, it was more like Naruto threatening, hey, if it comes down to it, I will just break your bones, man.
Yeah. So that's definitely cap. We already debunked that, whatever, blah, blah. But, okay, yeah, that's ridiculous. But all right, let's continue.
On Naruto for a while.
This man's trying to come up with them Sasuke tard winks right now. On God. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's ridiculous.
He's got that Jack card out, but he should have the Joker card out.
And transforms into his one-tail form. While in this form, Sasuke can indeed react to Naruto himself, but he can't react to his chakra branching and acting on his own volition, which leads him to trying to fight a ranged battle, which he also gets destroyed in, forcing him into his Curse Mark 2 state. Now, the Curse Mark states drastically boost chakra activity, which leads to a drastic increase in power according to the anniversary guide. Not to mention people like Kiba and Jirobo claiming it's a roughly 10 times amp to strengthen chakra. Although these do apply to Sasuke's Curse Mark, Databook 2 claims that it's even more potent in his and Kimimara's marks in two separate statements. The first one reads, they have mighty power even among the Curse Seals, the Earth and Heaven Seals, which are Kimimara and Sasuke seals respectively. The second one reads, among the Curse Seals, the Seals of Heaven and Earth hold exceptional power. These two statements alone will lead any reasonable person to the conclusion that these two marks are stronger than the others and should give a bigger amp. So Sasuke arguably gets a 10 plus times amp from his curse states, depending on if you believe the 10 times statement. Once he enters his Curse Mark 2 state, the fight becomes much more even, but ends pretty abruptly due to Sasuke rushing since the Curse Mark does erode his body. The fight ends with the iconic Vermilion Rasengan and Chidori Lament clash. While this clash happens...
Alright, so before we go any further, these are important claims that he's making. So, with the whole data books thing, all I'll say on that is you guys have to be careful because, for one, he's obviously using a translation tool as well. So, all I'll say with the whole translations, that can also be incompetent as well because whenever you use certain translations, doesn't mean it's actually being translated correctly. So, just to put that out there, there's plenty of examples for that. If you guys have ever been in a language class, your language professor or teacher will tell you do not use Google Translate or any translate because you'll be getting it wrong, so you have that. But either way, even if we ignore that, okay, if you analyze everything overall, manga, anime, data books, okay, etc., there's ways to formulate arguments to go in the notion that Sasuke and Kimimaro have a stronger curse mark in comparison to the Sound 4. There's ways to do that, but there's also ways to do the opposite. One of the things I already mentioned before, Saiken does state verbatim that you'll get a power equal or less than ours. That's it, blah blah, whatever. Once you unlock CM2, and that's also further established, and it's also contradicts his claim as well. Because if that was the case, then Sasuke with CM1 should have shitted on Saiken, and when he activated CM1, he got fucking washed up. So that's just not supported at all. If the seal was that massively strong or more powerful, he shouldn't have lost to Saiken then, and he still lost with his CM1 activation. So you have that. Then you have the statement that further solidifies that fact when Sasuke says that when you even awaken CM2 after he takes the pellets. So you can kind of go along that whole direction, and if you analyze the Sound 4, all of them as well, with all their feats and you name it, with Naruto in the beginning, and then you see Sasuke with Naruto as well, it's just further and further solidified that it's still all in the same scaling ballpark when it comes to the curse marks. It's not like one of them just has a massive fucking jump or whatever. Now, for Kimimaro, the reason why that would work in more favor for him is because Kimimaro just naturally scales over the Sound 4. So, for instance, even if they didn't have the curse marks, okay, Kimimaro would still scale over them base to base, And then they have curse marks. Kimimaro has curse marks. He still shits on them. You know what I mean? We bare minimum see him in CM1, and he shits on all of them, and they were all in CM2. Okay, we know that they fought in their full power unit because there's further statements to solidify that as well. Even Kimimaro says wow, Neji, he's the second person to push me this far or whatever. Meaning, he had to go CM2 against Kimimaro, you name it. That's really weird for him not to go full power. And they all basically tell him to shut the fuck up when Kimimaro says obey or die. They say hell no. And why would they not go full power? That doesn't make any sense. Even Orochimaru and Kabuto statements, how their personalities are, you name it. That's just stupid for them not to go full power. So, when you have all that, you know what I mean? Kimimaro just scales over because he just scales over. He's that guy. And then not only that, we don't know if that was either Prime or Sick. I'm assuming that was Prime Kimimaro because there was no indication with him being sick. He didn't cough or anything, but either way, I'm not going to say that's concretely the case. But either way, bottom line is Kimimaro is over the Sound 4. Sasuke was not over the Sound 4 when it came to before and Tutomo, you name it. And even after he gets to CM2, whatever, There's plenty of all of that. And then when he gets 3 Tomo, okay, you know, like I said, he has all the visual shit, you name it, etc. But the problem with the route he's going so far, at least from what I'm seeing and hearing, is he literally kind of contradicted himself. He said Sasuke in base was still able to react to One Tail's Naruto, right? But was mainly getting beat up by, you know, the branching and the certain perks that the cloak has, whatever. Okay, so it wasn't because, like, Naruto was just massively more fucking stronger that Sasuke couldn't do anything. Sasuke just didn't really have a way to deal with, you know, the branching that has its own mind of its own, and like the range attacks Naruto could do, because he's dodging the attacks. Like, he was dodging multiple attacks from One Tail Naruto, from up close, from range, you name it. And then eventually Naruto gets some hits in, you know? So, and then once that happens, then Sasuke goes see him too. And with everything that he just said, right, the whole 10 times thing, you name it, chakra, whatever, blah, blah, if we take that literally, this Sasuke should have just speed blitzed One Tail Naruto because he has a Chidori amp, right? And the 10 times amp as well. He should just be way more over. If base is still around the same ballpark as One Tail as well, okay, and One Tail can still be equal and clash with this Sasuke as well, that just goes to further prove the notion that Sasuke is not massively over One Tail either, even though technically he should by the evidence that he just provided. That's my whole thought process, and the reason why I strongly believe that is because it comes to the whole concept of chakra control, and Sasuke is just not there yet when it comes to controlling chakra to that level of perfection. You know, like, it's even stated verbatim by Kakashi that he doesn't have that level of perfection, you know, like Sakura, you know, or he's like in between, not the best but not the worst. So, like, there's so much evidence out there to prove that as well, but that's the main point. He doesn't have perfect chakra control, you name it. He just acquired the CM2, getting a massive amount of that chakra in Sage mode as well. Like, you know, there's only so much you can do with it. He can't use it to the full extent, if that makes sense. So that's all I'm going to say. You kind of take that whatever. But Ken, if you have anything to say on that, I know you said a lot of your arguments and points before the recording of this video, kind of similar to all that as well. But if you need me to replay that for you, it's not long. It's just like, you know, 10 or 20 seconds.
No,
then
no,
you
it's
go.
fine.
If you remember, then give your thoughts and whatever, if you have anything.
Yeah, the only thing that I really have to say, because realistically, a lot of my points have kind of gone over even throughout this recording so far, like, once the video has started.
Yeah.
The only thing I really have to say is the idea that, like, KCM was, like, this massively faster than Sasuke. I mean, like he said, he was able to dodge, like, KCM Naruto's actual hits. You only have problems dealing with chakra cloak.
Yeah.
Which at that point, it's kind of like fighting two people at the same time.
Exactly.
You can be relative to both of them, but if you have to dodge, like, 2 punches at the same time,
good luck. Yeah.
there's a higher chance you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was able to get away and actually didn't get hit as much would actually imply that he's slightly above even that form of Naruto.
Exactly. It's kind of similar to Kimaru, though, in a sense, because he has, like, 2 things as well. He has his body that you got to watch out for, and then his bones. You know what I mean? Like, the bones are kind of like a similar component, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it's a very similar situation to like Rock Lee versus Gaara.
Yeah.
Where Rock Lee is able to dodge all of Gaara's hits, but the problem is, like, his space attacks just aren't enough to put down, like, Gaara.
Exactly. Yep.
Which is why he has to use the KCM2 form. It's basically just for the additional power to pierce.
Yeah.
Like, he's shown, like, Curse Mark is stated to, like, increase power and all that.
Yeah.
Which is what he would need with the Chidori to even get through the cloak.
Exactly.
Not necessarily a speed problem.
Another thing I also will say, because I don't think he's even brought it up at all when it comes to, like, durability. He's just strictly going on scaling, meaning, like, overall stats would just be on that line of whatever reasoning and scaling. That's basically what he's doing to kind of simplify the video, which makes sense because he probably didn't want it to be too long. But also another thing too, Sasuke doesn't have any durability feats, guys. I'm sorry, he doesn't. They're all either really bad or, like, he just can't. And then there's just further evidence to support that he doesn't have the durability to tank most attacks. Like, for instance, when Naruto does his One Tail attack on him, he uses his wing to block it. Not his body, his wing. So meaning his wing is what actually has a durability component, not his actual body. And that's also further proven even in Shippuden. He's not using his body to tank shit. He's using his wings to tank shit. In the fight against Datara, if he didn't have his wing, he would have got fucking fucked up. His wing is what, got hit, and he was missing a wing, So like whenever it comes to that, like for anyone that thinks like his fucking body is now god tier, or now he can tank fucking Lotus attacks or Rising Gons or all this bullshit, like I'm shutting that down as well, because there are people that believe that. I don't know. I don't think he does, but I'm just putting that out there, and that's not the case at all. Like he wouldn't be clashing his Chidori with his Rising Gon if he could tank that. He wouldn't be using his wing if he could tank the attack from Naruto either. That's just stupid. I don't know. I don't know if you think I'm tripping on that, Ken, but I'm pretty sure that's simple.
Oh no, 100% how I feel about the idea of like, oh, this person can use this move, therefore their durability scales above.
Yeah.
If you were to argue that, you'd have to say like Kid Naruto has like similar durability to like adult Kakashi, because they live like one shot.
And which is not, because Kabuto gets fucked up by Rising Gon, by the way, who scales to Kakashi. So yeah, like you would have to prove AP scales to your durability, and good luck. So
yeah, most people, because they use the idea that when you exert a certain amount of force, then your body has to take that.
Yeah,
that could be true for like punches.
Yeah,
but there's nothing that says that with like special enhanced moves like
not like
Chidori,
Chidori, Rising Gon, or Lotus, and shit like that. Like no, that's just completely disingenuous. Like which like you throwing a punch or a kick, sure, yeah, reality, and we do know science does apply in Naruto. There's many, many, many examples of science in Naruto. Okay, so I'm not going to say that science is not a thing in Naruto either. But then again, you guys got to remember, we're dealing with a fictional show that can also defy reality as well at certain points. You got to keep that in mind. And the Raikage is also a perfect example to where only his AP himself could hurt his durability, proving the notion that AP doesn't always scale to durability.
Shameless plug real fast if you don't mind. Me and one of my other YouTube friends, a guy named Isaac, we're actually currently in the middle of working out a thing where we're going to explain why throwing a punch itself doesn't necessarily mean you can take that force itself. There's a lot of science
that's true,
and reasoning that goes into it that states that because the energy itself isn't maintained 100%.
No.
Like when you throw a punch, all that kinetic energy just go back.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is very true. Like for instance, like if I throw a punch, okay, you know what I mean? Yeah, my body can like withstand the force once my punch connects to most things or whatever. Okay, but if I punch a wall, a hard enough wall, sure, I might be able to damage it and fuck it up, but I can also fuck up my own fist. You know what I mean? Or
like if you're to punch yourself in the
or my bone.
Good luck taking that.
Yeah, and exactly, like let's say if I can I have enough punch to like hit somebody, right? And I can withstand the force of my punch that lands in their cheek, right? And I'm fine. But let's say if I punch myself with that same force, I'm not tanking that. I'm gonna bleed or have a bruise. That's retarded. So people to think that like you can just like tank, your own punches and all this other weird shit, whatever. That's just not the case. And that's shown in Naruto over and over. When Lee gets hits on Sasuke, he gets hurt. If Sasuke gets a hit on Lee, he would get hurt. Or whenever anybody is landing a punch or kick on a character in Naruto, 9 out of 10 times, they're not tanking that attack. You know what I mean? The only people that are ever shown to have, like, crazy durability is like, the Raikages, or, like, if you're, like way, way, way above. You know what I mean? Like, fucking 6-path scaling or something, So, yeah, that's just not how it works in Naruto. I know, like, it's a little bit divided away, but it is relevant to what we're discussing right now, and it is a common misconception that people have in Naruto. I don't know why, but it's just, that's what happens, So, all right, let's get it.
The second data book describes Naruto's Rasengan as his utmost strength, as well as his ultimate strength, and Sasuke was also probably using all of his strength for the Chidori, since we do see he's visibly weakened and coughing up blood after the clash. This clash overall, though, of course, ends in a stalemate, but to give him some credit, Sasuke did end up being the only one able to walk out.
What?
I will have to say there's a problem with that. It's probably not because Sasuke used his full powers that happened, or more because his body wasn't used to handling that much chakra at one point.
Exactly.
And we do know that handling more chakra than your body can handle can really mess with you. Case in point, when Naruto uses Speed 2, when his body isn't used to it, versus like when he's using like KCM1 later.
Yeah, and not only that, he also used a third Chidori. And remember what happened when he did that against Gaara? When he did a third Chidori?
Yeah.
Same thing. He coughed up blood and he was paralyzed. So, It's just with the whole chakra and limit thing, you know what I mean? That could be the main indication, which is most definitely the reason. And then obviously him just acquiring that power, you know, the negative effects of what it does, you name it, blah, blah. That's the main reason why. It doesn't necessarily mean he was using full power, but there's nothing wrong with him saying he's using full power. But to just say that's the only reason, I don't think, no, that's just blatantly stupid. I do think it's a direct correlation with the Curse Mark II, you name it, etc., and what Ken was saying, so.
Fight. With that out of the way, Naruto and Sasuke in their fight, especially in their strongest states, are relative if not equal in power. But we also have to account for Sasuke's time limit in this battle. Onto how Kimimaro compares to this Sasuke, I do think Kimimaro would beat the Sasuke due to a few factors. The first being the Kakashi things I went over earlier. If you do believe Kakashi should have been able to stop the battle if things came to it, like I do, then Kimimaro should be able to take out Sasuke, albeit with some difficulty probably. The thing that people usually use to disprove Kakashi being on Naruto and Sasuke's level is the fact that in the Land of Waves arc he was scared of a QB amp Naruto with arguably a weaker amp than what it was versus Sasuke, since versus Sasuke he was stated to be at his utmost and ultimate strength. But people neglect the fact that the QB chakra inherently has a trait of being dreadful, and while Zabuza does claim the chakra is larger than Kakashi's, Kakashi does train after this arc after learning he may become useless with people like Kabuto on Orochimaru's side. So it's reasonable to say he did gain much more chakra since it's implied that he did let his body go. As when we see him training, he said that the training shouldn't be so strenuous on his body, and he blatantly does say his body got weaker. As we know, chakra is half physical energy, so him getting a chakra amp from training his body doesn't make perfect sense. But aside from all that, Kimimaro should still be stronger than Kakashi at the time, due to a few statements. The first being from Kabuto. While talking to Orochimaru, Kabuto claims that no one that stands in his way can overcome Kimimaro. While this should exclude people like the
Wait. What the fuck? So he's saying... Okay, like, what the fuck? Like, how does that apply to everybody, though? Like, I'm assuming Kabuto's just basically saying, with, like, you know, everybody that's there, like, with the Genin, you name it, etc., like, I don't think Kimimaro is just straight up over here beating fucking Guy, or, you know, like, and I don't know about all that. That's a little weird. Fucking, cause I think he even started saying here's let me let him finish it out. Hang on. Let me let him finish.
Orochimaru, Kabuto claims that no one that stands in his way can overcome Kimimaro. While this should exclude people like the Hokage at the time, Tsunade, since the Kages of the villages don't often dispatch to missions, it would be fine for Kabuto to assume that high-level Jonin like Kakashi and Guy would be dispatched, especially since the enemy is literally a group sent straight from one of the legendary Sani. Another statement to support this is that Orochimaru implies that Kimimaro could be useful even in a Kage level battle like him versus Hiruzen, and even says that Hiruzen's assassination would have gone smoothly.
Well, yeah, that's prime Kimimaro though. That's not sick. Like that's why when he was sick, he didn't help with the Hokage assassination. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, prime Kimimaro. So like, if we're talking about prime Kimimaro, sure, all day, every day, he's washing up Kakashi. I'll definitely even go that far. But sick Kimimaro? I don't know about sick Kimimaro fucking just beating up any high tier Jonings. Like, bro, like, we saw with Lee what was happening. Imagine Guy with the gates. Like, what the fuck? Like, are we like, bro, am I tripping on that, Ken? Or, I don't know about all that, bro. That's weird.
Honestly, I'm going to say this, and a lot of people aren't going to like this. I think even, like, Prime Kimimaro loses to Kakashi and my Guy.
Damn! Damn, alright, at least I said Prime could be probably able to do it. That'd be more understandable.
Okay,
but, but before you talk about the Prime,
here,
do Sick first, at least. So this way nobody gets mad.
Okay. Well, the problem with Sick is, like, we saw, like, he was getting tagged by, like, drunken, like, Lee.
Yeah! So what, like, fucking Kakashi's losing to drunk? Like, you're gonna tell me drunk Lee is letting blows on fucking Kakashi or Guy as well? Like, come on, bro.
But, like, watch this. So, like, he's getting tagged by drunken Lee. That Lee, which was stated to be slower than, like, the one that was in the exams.
Yeah.
You know, the same one, like, that Lee that was, like, able to, like, dodge, like, all Gaara's hits and all that.
Yeah.
Mike Guy with no gates was able to jump in and just completely deflect, like, Gaara's hand, the same thing like giving, like,
oh, yeah.
everyone else.
In base, he fucking smacked that sand away like it was nothing.
And Kakashi, And if you take the data books, which he is,
Yeah.
if you take the data books, Kakashi is stated to be the strongest.
Yeah.
Even if you just say that base, that means Kakashi could replicate the same thing. So both Kakashi and Mike Guy have the speed to completely speed with someone like Kimimaro.
Yeah, it would just be speed blitz and like, bro, and not only that, like fucking, like even to tag that along. Which I'm gonna be real with you, I do believe like with the data book saying he's the strongest, it more likely be in correlation with like him, how many jutsu, like the 1,000 jutsu he has, genjutsu, you name it. You know what I mean? That's probably why he would be the strongest out of all the Jonin. Mind you, Kakashi's my favorite character, so I'm putting that out there right now. But I do believe Guy would more than likely still be able to beat Kakashi if he goes like full power gates and everything. Not 8th gate, but if he goes like any of the gates, because, well, like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people miss this, but literally like Guy says he's stronger than Kakashi. Sasuke and Team 7 say you're bluffing. No, there's no way. You're a goofball. You look dumb. Whatever. Blah blah. You need like they're literally roasting and then denying it. And Guy's like, all right, it's understandable. You know what I mean? I get it. You know, words don't mean anything, but actions do. He says that, right? Then goes full speed in base. Speed blitzes, perception blitz, and speed blitzes, all of them. Team 7. Okay. And then Sasuke is like in belief shitting his pants. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, he wasn't all talk, blah, blah, you name it. Like, he's even faster than Kakashi, and et cetera, et cetera. And it just further proves the notion, even in base, Guy is like technically faster than Kakashi and whatnot. So maybe... I'm not going to say, like, probably overall, like, maybe Kakashi could still react, but Guy could just move, you know, travel-wise more or whatever, but...
If the data book does say he's the strongest, not necessarily he's the fastest, so you could say maybe Kakashi with a Chidori can output more than what base Guy can.
Yeah.
But I'm more pointing out that the two should be considered rivals, so they should at least be able to...
Yeah, they're relative in a sense. Yeah, exactly. We know...
And Mike Guy... Yeah, and Mike Guy is basically able to speed blitz people who are, like, able to keep on par with like a faster lead.
Yeah.
Than what Kimimaro like getting tagged by.
Exactly. So like overall, like you have all that, and then when you go back to the whole like Sasuke interaction, like he says Guy is faster than Kakashi, which it doesn't make sense for Sasuke to just be bullshitting or lying or being ignorant or whatever, because he sees Kakashi have a death battle with Zabuza. Like they had full on bloodlust intent, you name it. So, like, for us to sit here and act like that's just like a, you know, there's no integrity in that statement, that's dumb and retarded. So, just to get that out the window. So, like, in base, Guy is literally indicated and implied to have the edge over Rusty Kakashi bare minimum. That's another thing we're going to put out there. That was Kakashi, that was technically Rusty and not at full power. We don't see Kakashi go at full power until after the rock climbing and when he's shown in the Konoha Crush arc. And when he's fighting against Itachi. That's when we have a prime elite Kakashi. But either way, bottom line is, just that alone, Guy is like technically being shown to be over, like narratively and statements-wise, just in base. Imagine him doing the gates, like, you know, you have all that. And then even if you, like, dismiss all that and say, like, all right, prime Kakashi is equal to base Guy now, or maybe they're still both for that, whatever, or you want to say over, bottom line is, whatever. We know the gates give amps upon amps, so if Guy starts doing all the gates, whatever, like, there's just so much to where there's no fucking conceivable way you're gonna tell me sick Kimimaro is fucking with them. That's retarded. That's stupid. You know, so, no, that's just absolutely bullshit. I'm sorry, that's just not, like, the evidence contradicts that statement completely. And I've said this millions of times, like, even Ken has agreed to this as well. Yes, we know Kabuto is very knowledgeable, and, you know, he can have, you know, he should be able to have, like, competent, proper judgment here and there when it comes to things. But there are many moments and times where Kabuto and Orochimaru are arrogant, where they overestimate their you know, judgment on abilities, you name it. Like, Orochimaru and Kabuto thought they could beat Itachi, and they failed miserably, and they learned the hard way. You know, then they fucking have all these other instances where they thought they were going to kill Hiruzen. They learned the hard way. Like, there's so many times where they think things are going to go the way they want or whatever, or how they think, and that's not the case at all. Then you have the point where Kabuto's, like, underestimating Naruto, like, oh, you're trash, blah, blah, you need the whole 9 yards, and you name it, and Naruto's able to react, grab him, and then hit him with a fucking Rasengan, you know? So, like, I'm just being real with you guys, you know, like, when it comes to their integrity in things, or line of judgment, it's not fully competent. And I mean, it can, depending on what the context is or what is being discussed, that is further proven upon. So for instance, like when they say Itachi's stronger, we know that is actually true because we see the evidence for it, you know? But when Kakabuto is saying something dumb like this shit, we see the opposite evidence, that it's contradicted. There's no way we can actually know that's correct. That's basically what I'm saying here. It's very straightforward. So, but we're going to continue the video because the video is already as long as it is. But yeah, that's not...
Real fast, before you continue,
yeah.
I'm just going to fight over. Another way to looking at this, for people to think it over, another way to look at it is, do you think Kimura was like beating Kasame? No, probably not. And Itachi considered my guy a threat to Kasame, and even to himself. So he was like, yeah, you can't underestimate.
Literally, yeah. Itachi, like, he wasn't serious at all that whole time. He's just goofing around, bullying everybody. Then Guy shows up, and then he finally gets serious and says, do not underestimate him, ... When someone says... Yeah. Go.
Oh, I was going to say, like, you would have to literally flat out to say, like, Kasame could fight like my guy. You'd have to say Kasame could fight like Itachi and Kasame, and that's just not happening. Yeah. Like, I like Kimimaro, but he's not on the same calibers of like Kasame.
Not at all. And if Itachi respects his power and literally finally gets serious and says, "Do not underestimate him," ... And the data book, exaggerates. I don't agree with this, what it says, but the data book does say like Itachi was forced to retreat because of Guy, but at the end of the day, we know like that's not the main. We know the real reason, which is why you guys need to understand that data books is not 100%, concrete integrity or literal meaning. You gotta analyze the context and analyze everything you name it. Don't just be ignorant or naive. But anyways, bottom line is we know what is legit is Itachi being serious, like on judging Guy's level of power. He wouldn't just say that for no reason, and that's further proven upon. And then even not only that. Even Itachi says, Kasame, if you fight Kakashi, you'll win, but it'll be at a cost. Like, you're not going to get out of that fight, with rainbows and sunshines. Like, you think it'll be the way you want. Like, nah, you're going to get fucked up, or it's going to be like a life and death, like you barely got out of that shit. And if Itachi is implying that with Kakashi versus Kasame, like, come on, bro. So, yeah, that's blatantly not. So, yeah, this right here, I'm sorry, was no. No. Alright, let's keep going.
If not for Kimimara's sickness. With all that being said, I don't even think I need to bring up the databook statements, but I'll do so anyway. In the second databook, when describing his Kekkei Genkai, they call the jutsu omnipotent not once, but twice. To put that into perspective, the only other jutsu that's described with such hyperbolic wording in this databook is the first...
I'm about to say, you better not be taking that that shit's not omnipotent.
Hokage Hashirama Senju's World of Trees jutsu. Now, of course,
I don't know that
on Hashirama's level, but I hope you get the point.
What? Why is it omnipotent?
I don't know that.
I thought it was as strong as steel.
Because remember, the data book also says that Kakashi is omnipotent as well.
Really? It says Kakashi is?
It says he has omnipotent power or something.
Bro.
He's omnipotent and he uses his power as needed. I'll look for it while this goes on, but yeah. It's really stupid.
I believe it. Yeah, no, that's clear exaggeration, guys. Like, come on, don't be stupid. Come on. Like, and not only that, Ken brought up a good point. This is before recording, to where there is a statement where it talks about the bones, that it's as strong as steel. Now, like I said, you can argue whether or not, like, if that's just like more of a figurative, type of way, where it's just basically saying that it's just really, really strong and hard, or if it's being literally, then it has the same durability and properties as steel, basically. Either way, that's what we actually have. That makes more sense. It makes no fucking sense for it to be omnipotent. If it was omnipotent, nobody's beating him. Nobody.
Yeah. I found it. I sent it to you in DMs.
Yeah.
It says Kakashi's omnipotence can be noticed in every single assignment he's ever endorsed.
Oh, here, let me look at this for you guys, just for shits and giggles real quick. Yeah, that's fucking retarded. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's blatantly contradicted. So yeah, if you guys can't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. So let's continue.
This jutsu the best offense and defense, and even calls it the most powerful of arsenals. Kimimara's entry in this databook even says that his body and evasive abilities are also the strongest. Now, although these databooks may be referring to a healthy Kimimaro, since we do know that he doesn't have the best body, the Kabuto statement at least should be referring to sick Kimimaro, since Kabuto, who is Kimimara's medical professional at this point, should know how sick he is and possibly how much power he's lost. With all that being said, I think you should agree that Kimimara would beat Sasuke in his Curse Mark II state, even though he's sick. The last thing I wanted to touch on is Kimimara versus the beginning of Shippuden / Heavy Sasuke. Now, Sasuke at the beginning of the series is absolutely no joke. After the time skip, when he encounters Team 7, we see he's able to easily defeat people like Yamato, an elite Jonin and ex-Anbu member who was specifically chosen to fill in for Kakashi in Team 7. He's even able to enter Naruto's psyche and suppress the Nine-Tails chakra, with the Nine-Tails even claiming he reminded him of Madara Uchiha. In Databook 3, this Sasuke is also hyped up a lot. This Databook goes in depth on his power, and goes as far as saying that he's always ahead of Naruto in power, which drives Naruto to get stronger. And the stat charts in this databook show a drastic power up in literally every statistic. And while I don't agree with using these stats to compare to other characters, comparing them to a different version of one character, such as what I'm doing here, should be fine since it's fairly consistent. And the charts are literally called progression charts, implying they're supposed to be used to track progression and not to.
So, I'm going to say some little jab to that. I get what he's saying to a degree, but let's be real, like, for instance, like the side characters, like with Neji, Lee, whatever, blah, blah, like, we really don't have a lot with them, unfortunately. We only have so much, and so if Kishimoto is providing a progression chart and doing the same, and let's say their stats are higher than this Sasuke, and you're just going to flat out say, oh, I don't really agree with all the other ones because it just doesn't go with my, like, what I'm trying to say is you can't say, oh, it only works, because you're comparing, a character to his old self, when that can technically work for other characters, especially if they don't have that much to go off and it's not contradicted either. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Like I believe Shippuden Lee does have better Taijutsu stat than Shippuden Sasuke as well. So, meaning therefore, like if his speed is greater in Taijutsu, whatever, as crazy as that sounds, you know what I mean? Like that would more than likely hint the notion that Kishimoto does agree that Rock Lee would still be over even Shippuden Sasuke. I would have to pull it up and everything, but I'm pretty sure that is the case as well. But so like, meaning therefore, like I'm assuming like if that's the case, like he just wouldn't agree with that at all, whatever, for some weird reason, etc. Which I'm gonna be real with you, like you're kind of arguing with against Kishimoto at that point, like unless it's contradicted or just doesn't make sense, then sure. But if it can make sense, or that's the only line of evidence you do have, what's the fucking problem? And then none of that, when we analyze Lee, even compared to Sasuke in part 1 and part 2 of OG Naruto, Lee was technically still always ahead, so I don't see the problem, so, but that's just me. I don't know if you have anything on that, Ken, but that's my little thoughts on the whole character progression chart shit. I think it can be good, I don't think it's a waste, so.
I'm kind of on the same grounds with you. I think it's more meant to be one of the things where it just shows like the characters like progression within that, like which stats got boosted the most and all that within it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like this character is the best in this stat or something like that.
Yeah. So, all right.
It's kind of like how in like I can't think of any particular game though. Like some MMO games where you have this wheel and it's like this is how like much better you are at this. Like you got like a +2 in this stat or something.
Yeah. Exactly. So, all right, let's keep it going.
To compare to other characters, since it usually yields contradictory results to what we see in the manga. Now, while this Sasuke and Kimimaro don't really have many links to each other, we do have a few statements we can go off of. The first being when Jugo meets Sasuke, he comments on how Sasuke can do partial transformation, and goes on to say he hasn't seen a copycat this good since Kimimaro, implying that Sasuke and Kimimaro at this point do have relative control over their marks. We also know that Kimimaro routinely used to take care of Jugo when he used to have a little outburst, and Suigetsu does think that in the past fight he had with Jugo, that he was pretty strong, even in comparison to his own power. And Suigetsu probably didn't get much stronger from then, since we do know that he's literally just stuck in a vat in Orochimaru's basement. This scaling admittedly is a little bit presumptuous to a few things, but you could use this to say that Kimimaro may be on Suigetsu's level. But even if he was, we do know that
Suigetsu's level? Huh? What the fuck? Okay, that's a little weird.
Sasuke should be quite above that, since he does literally subdue both Suigetsu and Jugo at the same time. With the narrative comparisons of Kimimaro and Sasuke, you could probably say that they should be on the same level at this point in time, and Kimimaro being Suigetsu level may even be downplay. All those interpretations are valid, but I think I'll end it here. If you enjoyed the video,
so I missed it. what? You think Sasuke beats Kimimaro then? It should put in at least? Like, what the fuck?
He didn't give that answer.
He didn't say it, right? Yeah.
No, he's going off the idea that he's just giving the arguments, and he wants the audience to come to the conclusion.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I was making sure because I didn't really hear. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, I guess the last thing to address then with the Shippuden Sasuke, because he was only referring to heavy, and then with the Orochimaru absorption as well. You know, the best arguments I feel like you can formulate for Kimimaro is, you know, if we're referring to Prime Kimimaro, where he's not sick, whatever, and I mean, the highest you can kind of get him around is, you know, to the point where he was stated where he could be able to kill Hiruzen effortlessly with Orochimaru's aid. You know, you have that. So, I mean, he can, like, go toe-to-toe with, you know, Sonic level opponents and aka Hiruzen. You also have, like, the War Arc feats where he's Edo, where he's not at full power, but close to his original power. And he's able to, you know, fight against the KCM1 Shadow Clone. You know, and he's kind of doing his thing against him. And him and Shio were both standing or not sealed yet. So you kind of have that line of skill and you can kind of go off. And if you go that way, then therefore Kimimaro should just shit on that Sasuke still. But if you don't go that type of way of formulative arguments, I believe Ken has his own type of arguments of why even Prime Kimimaro wouldn't scale. He did say and explain that already beforehand. But if you want to like say anything more with that, Ken, of why you think Shippuden Sasuke should at least be able to defeat Prime Kimimaro, it's obvious as day he beats Sick. Like, if anybody's going to sit here and say Shippuden Sasuke doesn't slam Sick, you're retarded. Like, you're just dumb. But anyways, what's it called? But yeah, do you have anything on that, or what do you got, Ken?
Yeah, the best you have for like a hypothetical Prime Kimimaro is like above like maybe Hiruzen or like equal to Hiruzen.
Yeah.
And even that's kind of hard to say because he would technically have to be under Orochimaru because he was training with Orochimaru, getting protection from him and all of that.
Yeah.
And we know that Sasuke, at least later in Shippuden, should scale above Orochimaru once he like acquires his Mangekyo.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, Mangekyo. Yeah.
But one of the things that helps him out, like even early on, one, he can use his curse mark far more freely.
Yeah.
But now he also has all those long range.
Yeah, he has like
lightning
long range.
jutsus.
Yeah, Ninja Karen.
Like paralyzed.
Yeah, he can do. He has now. He more than likely actually does have a 10 times amp overall. If you want to give that directly, or if you just think that only like correlates to like his jutsus and shit or whatever, which that kind of makes sense because you know Chidori turns black when he's in CM2. His Chidori spear goes even longer against Datara when he's in CM2. So you know, but yeah. So with all that into consideration, yeah, I definitely agree. That would be better to help out.
And what really helps Sasuke here is he's much better with his Sharingan Genjutsu.
Yeah.
To the point where he's even able to like suppress the Nine Tails with Naruto. So he just has the ability to mobilize.
He should be able to get into Kimimaro. I do believe that. Yeah. Even with 3 Tomo, I do believe. Yeah.
So basically, even if you say Kimimaro has like a slight speed advantage, even in Prime, Sasuke has all the tools to paralyze him even for a minute. And like I said before, he has no way of protecting himself if he gets hit with like a direct Chidori, let alone like if Sasuke decided to drop the Kirin.
Yeah. Yep. So,
yeah, that's basically why I think that.
Yeah, so that'll basically be it. So like either way, like you could argue for either or for like Shippuden Sasuke or Kimimaro. That's fine. You can go either Sasuke's favorite or Kimimaro. But regardless, at least for the other versions, Kimimaro will still win. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like, oh, it's just like absolute no diff. I do think with 2 Tomo, Sasuke, just as a recap, would definitely lose really bad to Kimimaro. That's just me. But if it's 3 Tomo, he'll put up a better of a fight, but Kimimaro would just still win because it's just Kimimaro. You know what I mean? It's that simple. I believe Ken, you were also on those similar lines as well.
Yeah, I'm not too far off from that.
Yeah, so that'll basically be that then overall. The last thing I'll say in conclusion, my overall thoughts in this video, I'm gonna be honest, like, you know, if I had to grade it, like, obviously we agreed with, like, his conclusions, but the problem was just his arguments and scaling. That was the shit part. I'm not trying to be mean, but he was just saying a lot of dumb things in that. I don't know, bro. Like I'm not gonna dislike the video because it wasn't a horrible video like the one before. but I'm not gonna like this video either. Like it just, like if I had to grade it, I'd say like a C plus. You know what I mean? But not even B or A, bro. Like if I had to rate it from like A to F, you know, I'd say a C plus.
I'd give it a solid B minus.
You give him a B minus, okay? Like
It's not like it's the worst. I think he relies too much on Dynamo.
Yeah, like there's just a lot of points he made that were just blatantly either contradicted, or there was points he made that were blatantly debunked. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, like he just that's the only issue I really had with the video overall. Like if you're gonna, you know, no matter what, nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? I probably even have, you know, maybe in like I don't have a lot of production videos in Naruto because I do a lot more reactions or debates or gaming in comparison to making my own production videos. So. I am going to be coming out with a lot more production videos. Do keep that in mind. But regardless, you know, maybe even in some of my production videos I could be tripping or whatever. You know, nobody's perfect, but I'm just saying, from me, judgment-wise and all that, that's just me. Like, it was kind of ass. But either way, we'll end this video here. If you guys enjoyed the reaction, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe for more content videos on the channel. Make sure to sub for Ken as well. Same thing goes for him. Like I said, his YouTube will be in the description down below. And just let us know what you think. And Truth Outlaw, I know you're going to watch this video because you watched it last time. So if you even made it all the way to this end, apologize for it being this long. And for everybody else as well for it being this long. But we just had to address it like it was necessary. You know, nothing against you, bro. Like I said, you don't need to take this to heart or get butthurt or anything. Like, this is just simply just giving our honest thoughts and opinion and nothing but, you know, respect and love and professionalism. So if you're going to get butthurt and take it to the T, then I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? So if you're going to comment down below, don't be a dick. Please.
Join the Discord and come to me directly if you had a complaint.
Yeah, like literally, bro. Like you know my Discord. I mean, if there's a problem, just come to our Discord. We can talk about it there. Or if you want to professionally debate it, by all means. You know, like there's no reason to get all hostile or crazy. Like it's not necessary. We're not here to be testing and see who has the bigger ego or dick on the table, whatever you name it. That's not what this is about. So, but yeah, we'll end the video here.
Me. I win that.
You guys take it easy. Peace.